So, the qualities that's necessary in a Dharma student is embodied in the 50 verses. That's the outer actions. The inner actions or the attitudes is embodied in the 9 attitudes. The 9 verses of attitudes that we just read. But in general, all that for us to fulfill is more all those don't need to fulfill to the T. I don't think anybody can fulfill all that to a T, but I think it's more practical thinking. It's more consideration. It's more logical thinking. Who can fulfill all that to a T perfectly with body, speech, and mind? My point is, it's not that we don't try to achieve it. It's more on practical thinking, practicality, and logic. It's as simple as that. And then, what's more important is that the students must have consistency. Consistent in your Dharma practice, consistent in your commitments, consistent in what you promise, consistent in what you're supposed to do. Consistency is very important. And why? If you're consistent in the lower trainings, such as in assignments and work that the teacher maybe the teacher has spoken to you before and say, hey, why don't you get involved as an advisor, as a committee, or work something for the Dharma? You say yes, but you don't do it. That's not consistency. If you're not consistent in that, one day your work will finish, one day you will retire, one day your kids will grow up. Then when you want to go into deeper practice, if all these years you've skipped in getting yourself ready for getting yourself trained in consistency, later if you want to do your practice, it's going to be pretty impossible. That's why 50-50 is very important. Consistency. Not by mood, not by time, not if someone chases you, not if you're all happy you're doing this and doing that, doing this and doing that because you're being watched, you're in a good mood, and then when you're not in a good mood, you don't do it. Consistency comes from commitment. Commitment comes from care. Care comes from understanding that this is really important. It's almost like a last stop. And having clean samaya. Having very clean samaya. What's samaya? It's a big fancy smancy word in Sanskrit for relationship. Have a good relationship with your teacher. If you're supposed to give money to your teacher and you don't give and your teacher's upset with you, A, your teacher can be a monster, or B, it could be that your teacher knows you could have, but you didn't because you're hiding again. It could be many, many reasons. Many, many, many reasons. So what happens is clean samaya, a good relationship with your guru is very, very important because your relationship is a spiritual relationship. It's for spiritual attainment of something very high. And the guidelines for a clean samaya, is what we just read in the 50 verses and the 9 attitudes. So if you sum up the 50 verses and the 9 attitudes, those 59 verses, if you sum it up, it's more about having an honest, pure, real relationship with your guru, where you get into a relationship where he helps you and you help him. You help him to do Dharma work to benefit others. He helps you to do Dharma work to benefit yourself and others. And on a deeper level, the 59 verses to help you overcome the emotional problems that we all have so that we can be free, so that we can avoid more complications and sufferings and more emotional problems that we might have created for ourselves without wanting to. That's what it's about. So having a clean samaya means to be honest with your teacher, to be forthright, to be earnest and sincere. Why? It's your chance to train up in those qualities. And if you have those qualities, to increase those qualities. There's no limit on how much we can increase our qualities or good qualities. Why? We're trying to achieve Buddhahood. So showing respect to our guru is not some slavish, Eastern, Tibetan, fanatical, the guru can never be wrong trip. It's not about that at all. It's never ever been about that. We're devoted by our gurus because we realize they have given us something that no one else can give us, not even our parents, no one else. They have given us the wisdom and the path and the method that no one else could have given us. How kind is that? And in return for nothing. In return for nothing. So when we're overwhelmed with this kindness of what they have placed in our hands, they have put liberation in our palms, we are moved by devotion for them. We are touched to the core of our heart by their kindness. And the reason they were able to do all this for us is because they spent 20, 30 years working very hard in listening to the teachings, in doing their retreats, and holding their vows. And they have committed to their practice and themselves and their transformation. They have committed. Because they have committed and they have spent so much time in this, when they share this with us and they expect nothing back, we feel indebted. So naturally we become polite. Naturally we become honest. Naturally we become direct. Naturally we carry out jobs that our gurus has given us. And the truth be told, any services you offer your guru, in the beginning, it will be seen as this person or this person gave this person did this work, this person cleaned up, this assistant, this sponsor, whatever. They're very kind. But when we understand the guru and the nature of the relationship very well, it is not the sponsors, it is not the people or the attendants or the students who are very kind to the guru. It is the guru very kind to them. The guru gave them an opportunity to develop their mind and to do things with their resources and their funds that they would never have done if they were left to their own devices. So in Tibetan tradition, when we understand the Dharma, they clamor and they push and they want to do work for the master. They want to do work for the teacher, and they do it very well. And the sponsors all fight to sponsor because it is an honor. It is a total honor. Why is that? It would be better if we put it in the cup because we're in a teaching situation. So, why should we do that? Why should we do that? I've sponsored my gurus before. I've built houses for my gurus. I've sponsored their teachings on law life and their robes and their medicines. I've sponsored everything. Some, I even gave my centers to them. Everything. And I still never think I did them a favor. I always think I had such an opportunity to make offerings to my guru, who is even better than making offerings to the statues. That's what I really thought, and I still think that. And whenever I go meet my gurus, whatever personal funds I have, or wherever I can squeeze, I'll buy, and I go there, reverently fold my hands and make offerings to them, because I 100% believe they're doing me a favor. 100%. And I make offerings to them with no end. And I make offerings to them in such a body posture that they're doing me a favor. I never arrogantly give it to them or make them remember what I've done for them or make them owe me something that I've done for them. I've never ever done that, ever in my whole life. I offer everything to my gurus. Why? It is a perfect object for me to let go, to collect merit, to practice generosity, and I know they will do good things with it. I know they will. I don't need to know or judge or think. Even if they throw my gifts down the toilet, even if they take the money I've given them and burn it, I still have done the right thing, because perhaps they're throwing down the toilet and burning it to see my mind. There was even the case of this Mahasiddha. His name slips my mind at this time. One of the 84 Mahasiddhas who went for his guru for teachings. He was basically a beggar. He had nothing. And when he went up to his guru for teachings, the guru said, "What did you bring to me for teachings?" He says, "I don't have anything. I don't have anything of value on me at all, but I want the teachings." The guru says, "No, you have to give me something." So the guy thought. He said, "The only thing he has is his teeth. There's nothing else." Why that is of value, I have no idea. So he put his head, he hit it together very hard, and his teeth fell out. He cleaned it, he put that on his hand, he offered to his guru. And the guru said, "What a wonderful offering, thank you." Taught him the Dharma, gave him initiation, gave him practice of sadhana. He became enlightened in one lifetime. Because his giving was so sincere. There was another case of another Mahasiddha wandering through the forest who met a black lady, a dark black lady, who was actually a Dakini. And he recognized that she was something special. She was not an ordinary person. He made 3 prostrations to her and said, please confer on me initiation and practice. So she said, no, you have to give me something. He said, why? He said, I want gold. I can't remember the whole story, but he somehow obtained gold. He went around, begged and asked and went to relatives, and he got the gold. He didn't steal it. He went and through a lot of work, he got a little bit of gold, and he went and offered it to this black lady. This black lady with long hair and wearing very little clothes, hanging out in the forest. And then when he offered the gold up to her, with no attachment whatsoever, she took the gold and she says, for me? He said, yes. What do you want? I want Dharma. Okay. She took the gold and threw it. He was like, okay. He didn't go and chase after it either. She just threw it out. She's very good. Now I'll give you the Dharma. He also became attained in that lifetime. He got all the gold he wanted after that. No problem at all. So the thing is, this is when we reach a higher stage in Dharma, when we do services for the Guru, when we do work for the Guru, when we sponsor the Guru, when we write, when we clean, when we do anything for the Guru, train or take care of younger students in any way for the Guru, it doesn't become I'm doing the Guru a service anymore. The attitude will completely change. Why? As you graduate and become better and better and better, you will notice your relationship with others become better. You will see yourself become accepting. You will see a lot of obstacles averted. You will see harmony grow. You will see a lot of afflictive emotions grow. And a lot of things you've done in the past you will regret. What's the benefit of regretting things you've done in the past? You purify it. You will see that happen in your mind. Everything in you will grow and become better when you do service to the Guru. And that's a little uncomfortable for me to say, because in this scene, I'm supposed to be the Guru. So it looks like I'm trying to glamorize or trying to make bigger or get something from you. It may look like that. But no one else to explain or talk or teach. That's why when I used to go to other Lama centers in the past, I would always teach Guru devotion. Always. The Chinese Dharma centers, the Tibetan Dharma centers, I would always teach Guru devotion. In fact, some of my Guru devotion tapes I've taught at other centers are still recorded and they still use it. I heard. Always I teach. Why? Because I know it's not comfortable for their Gurus to teach it. Because I want their relation to be good. If their relationship with their Guru becomes good, their center will grow, their attainments will grow. Once their attainments grow, that's what we want, isn't it? Then people will become happy. So we have to think carefully. We have to think. So the qualities of a student is very simple. To be honest with your teacher. Not honestly lazy. Oh, I'm lazy, that's why I don't want to do it. That's not honesty. Not honestly lazy. To be honest. To be consistent. To have care. To have your samaya clean. To create harmony with each other. To have samaya clean with each other. And to contribute to your Guru's work. Some people have known their Guru or teacher for many years, and until now they've done very little or nothing to contribute and give time to your Guru's work. Your Guru has been consistent for many years, teaching, explaining, talking, teaching, explaining, very consistent for many, many years. We need to be consistent now. And to help us along that is the 59 verses, the 50 Guru devotion verses and the 9 attitudes. That is just to help us. That's a guideline. If we're not well, every time our Guru walks, we jump up, jump down, jump up, jump down. Of course, not necessary. If we're really, really sick as a dog, and there's a teaching going on, we can't make it. Unless the Guru is a fanatic, is some weirdo, he understands. In fact, he might even go out of the way to make sure you get a copy of the teachings so you can hear it. Why? Because he's an egomaniac? No. Perhaps the words he teaches can help you. Perhaps. So, when we sacrifice and submit, and we do things for the Guru that we ordinarily would not do, you collect merit, that's one. Psychologically, you open up, and this person will challenge you to become better. And if you notice people who are close to the Guru, close, no matter how bad they are, most of the time, they become better or they get some benefit. They can get some physical benefits, some monetary benefits, some emotional benefits. Somehow they get some benefit when they're around their teacher. And those who are forthright and really good, you see them year after year improve and become better and better and better and better and better when they hang around the Guru. You will see that. Definitely. So, qualities a student should have with the teacher. And people who, the next one says here, people who go against their guru. I've already talked about that day before and yesterday. I don't think I need to talk more about that. But if we can advise them, they listen. Okay, if we cannot and they don't listen, to continue a relationship with them, we have to check carefully. Are we helping them deteriorate further? Why? Because they think what they're doing is all right. Nobody knows. Nobody thinks anything. Okay, Lo. They continue. And I'm so sorry, not everybody who comes to the center has a good motivation. There are one or two people once in a while that come in for ulterior motives to use and abuse the center and its members and its guru and its community. There are people like that. There are. There always will be. Why is not the question. That's their nature. That's their character. Nothing is sacred to them. But then again, nothing will last either. And the karmic repercussions does come back. Volunteers and staff. Volunteers are people who take time away from work, take time away from their family, take time away from their commitments because they really believe in the Dharma and they really believe in themselves and they really want to do something good. They can volunteer for relief services, for earthquake victims. They can volunteer for tsunami victims. They can volunteer anything. Volunteers basically are people who willingly go and do something without any wish to be compensated back or given something back. Those are what volunteers are. And the volunteers who do Dharma work are even a higher level. Why are they a higher level? Because they do work for something supreme. Something very supreme. The goal is supreme. The motivation is supreme. Their action will lead to supremacy. Supreme results. So Dharma volunteers are very, very special. So those who are volunteering, although you're very special and very nice, and you're doing something good, also we should do our work well and conscientiously and not have an attitude that I'm a volunteer, I'm doing you a favor. You're not doing anyone a favor, you're doing yourself a favor. Whether you volunteer for the Red Cross or a Dharma organization, you're doing yourself a favor. Why? You're giving something back for all the things you've taken. And if you don't have anything, you're looking for somewhere to gain something. Because sometimes when we volunteer our free services, we gain something back that can never be bought. A sense of happiness and peace and satisfaction that came about doing something for the good of doing it. And all of us will feel good about that, all of us. So staff that work in an organization who have a Dharma stipend should be very kind to the volunteers and should set a good example for the volunteers that more volunteers will come. How many volunteers come will be totally dependent on the current volunteers and how they act. If we walk into an organization and say, oh, they're like that, they're like this, they're like that, and that's why I don't want to do it, I'm disappointed, and that's all. That's a very sad, sad excuse. That's a very arrogant excuse. Why is that an arrogant excuse? Because you expect everybody else to do it, but you don't need to do it. Perhaps you're used to that environment. Maybe you come from a background where everything is done for you, and you're trained up that way. So maybe it's not your fault to be arrogant, but it is a fault. Knowingly or unknowingly, it is a fault. So when we come to a Dharma organization, the staff with stipends or the staff that are close to the Lama or the staff that have been Dharma for a long time, they should set an extra special example for everybody else. It is their responsibility to make the Dharma grow. Why? If the Lama is not here anymore and you need to maintain the Lama until the next one comes and he's mature, who do you expect to keep the center together? So why wait till the Lama is dead? And then get yourself together and get it together. Why don't you start right now so the transition is very, very smooth. Very, very smooth. So if the Lama's not around, you let everything fall apart? Would you like your Lama to come back and start all the way over? Even if your Lama doesn't come back and use your facilities, the fact that you keep it going and you do the best you can shows something in your character and you're developing something in your mind. So why wait till the Lama's dead? Start now. Start right now. To be harmonious, to set good example, to work hard, to make your work not on a volunteer attitude, but make your work that of devotion to spiritual growth and attainment. And everybody here knows, and all of us know, that Dharma centers is for the betterment of general society. So if we contribute and help toward a Dharma center, we are contributing back to Dharma society. Isn't that good work? Isn't that healing? Isn't that very positive? Devotion we've always had, as I mentioned earlier. We have devotion to our family, making money, to finding a partner, to having friends, to perfecting some hobby we have. We have devotion to music. We have devotion to the arts. We have devotion to painting. We have devotion to movies. We have devotion to fashion. We have a lot of devotion. It's not you're trying to develop something you don't have. It's just switching it toward a higher direction. A higher direction. All the activities we've done in our life, we can always graciously and so eloquently say, well, I learned from it. Well, that was a very good experience. But then if you think about it, what did you really get from it? What is of substance at this time? If you really think about it. If you think about it from the light of the Dharma, which you have a greater wisdom now. You have a greater perspective now. What did you really get from it? If you don't have Dharma, then your perspective will be different. I agree. But if you have Dharma, shouldn't your perspective be much, much different? Well, I've covered everything. Everything is completely covered. I know I've covered it because I'm looking at my sheet and everything is ticked off. And the second sign that I know I covered it is because my mouth feels like the Sahara Desert. And my throat is burning. And my voice is getting softer for a change. And all I think about in the back of my mind is drinking 100 plus. That's elegant in a nice cup because I'm on video. Not in a unelegant, unlama-like bottle. See, I'm still attached to ego and form. What to do? Oh boy, that was good. Very good. I have severe diarrhea. My severe diarrhea started today. It just comes out like water. I've taken 2 Lomatils. It's still bubbling away, bubbling away, bubbling away. It's okay. Because my mind is happy. I'm hot. My back is killing me. My mouth is dry and parched. My neck is killing me. My neck is swollen because I have very little sleep these few days because I've been studying up and preparing for all this. Very little. I'm exhausted, but I'm very happy. I don't feel any pain. I don't have any regrets. And our marathon 3 days, twice a day has finished. And all of us have made it. Some of us have gone to work and still came and made it. Some of us have finished. We finished. We did an incredible teaching about the relationship, about the center and what goes on inside to improve what we have. We have a great center. We have a great bunch of people that are diverse, that come from so many different countries and backgrounds. We have a great place. We have a great place, and we can make it better. It's already great. We can make it much better. And we went through 3 days of marathon teachings. Some of you have families, commitments, send your kids away. Some of you took time away. Sing Piao's been stuck in the background with his whatever on. Look at him. Oh, my God. Doesn't he look like a kept animal? He looks like a baboon or something, huh? Look. And we're all tired. We're all exhausted. And most of us, the mind is very happy. And we've learned so much in these few days. And I was able to recall a lot of things. Some things that I don't recall before I came here, I did research and I checked it out. I read up to make sure I give you the right information. And then, with the kindness of our writers, because I forgot from who, it doesn't really matter from who, but I heard that when I first wanted to do this project and get it out into a book, because I really wanted to help other Dharma centers. I heard that Sharon in Paris was dancing inside Sharon's kitchen because they were happy with this assignment. Can you believe it? I'm going to give them about 20 hours of whatever to transcribe, and they're dancing up and down in the kitchen. That's a new phenomenon. Well, what does that tell you? That I'm not the only one in this room that care about people. There's a lot of people here that care about other people. And their being happy about virtuous work is an expression of their care. There are many ways to care. This is not the only way, of course. And there are some shocking attendees at these teachings that I'm shocked they're here. I'm really shocked, Robert. I'm shocked he's here. I mean, he's always flying around, getting business here and there. Economy is slow. He's got to fly overseas. He's here, though. I'm shocked. A good shock. Why Ming's listening to teachings? He doesn't need his eyes to listen. His eyes are killing him. He's working all day. I know he's in pain, but he's focused because he's very alert. I can tell. He's like that for the last 2-3 hours. But he's focused. He's listening. And then after we're gone, we go home and we crawl into bed. And we're all comfortable. Sing Piao will be up the whole night, editing these tapes, burning them from the computer and getting it ready for Sharon and Susan. And when are you guys leaving? These two are leaving at 7 a.m. for Canada for 2-3 weeks, and they're here now. Do you see them impatient? Look at their attitude. I don't know if they packed and they've got kids. I don't want to know. I don't want to feel guilty. Look at that. And then Sing Piao's got to pass this all over to them. They're going to fly out to Canada at 7 a.m. and they're here. If it was me, I'd be very itchy. So we finished. Any questions? Virtuous work. We finished virtuous work. And we must dedicate and make prayers that this teaching and this talk that's made into a book, and I'll leave it to the writers because I talked here. I'm not a very organized speaker, so I talked here. I'm going to beg them to put it together into one chapter that's related, another chapter related, another chapter, and hopefully the chapters have titles. I'm sure they can do it. Catchy, fun titles that appeal to all backgrounds and all ages and all cultures to help people deal with this phenomenon of Dharma centers. And maybe we'll have a part 2 to this book. Or maybe someone will read our book and be inspired and write even a better one to help other people. No problem. Who writes better? Who does? Who cares? Please explain to her. Yeah, but it took a teacher for them to say, go figure it out. Because the teacher gave them one-liners or things to think about to go figure out. You still need a teacher. Definitely. And there are some paths that you need less time with the teacher. But the time you're with the teacher is still quality time. But those paths lead to a higher path, where definitely you need a teacher. Definitely. So even those paths that say you don't need a teacher, go do it on your own. Somebody told you to go do that on your own. A teacher. Definitely, definitely. All right? And going and finding yourself and thinking and figuring yourself is good devotion to your teacher because you're doing what that person told you to do. It is good. In fact, it's more harsh. It's more severe. You're on your own, kiddo. Can you imagine you? You come see Tsem Rinpoche once a year and he tells you, find the truth yourself. You say, see you later. Questions? Questions? Yes. You check the situation. If it's something that you cannot gauge at all, it was better to trust and just do. If it's something that you can gauge, example, if you're going to go downtown to give food to the homeless and it's a dangerous part of town, and Guru said, "No, you better not go. I don't want anything to happen to you." Then you say, "May I please explain? There's 4 other people with me, and there's 3 guys, and we're in a car, and we're going to all go together." Oh, I see. Okay, you can go. Then you explain. I mean, it's situational. It's not fanatical. It's situational. So you check the situation. If I gave you a sweeping kind of rule that's hard and fast, that's pretty hard. That's pretty hard. If by sickness you can, of course you cannot. You cannot. But a lot of the times when the teacher tells you to do something that you feel is impossible, the whole purpose is to make it possible, to push yourself that you can. But you have to take that with clarity, with thinking, with sensibility. If you need to see your mother for din din, and you planned this 3 weeks ago, and it's her birthday, and then that night there's a special puja, and then your teacher said you have to be there, but you explain the situation. Of course, the teacher's all right. So it's very situational. There's no one hard and fast rule for that. Most important thing is attitude. Are we arrogantly telling our teacher, "I cannot" or "I can"? Or we're humbly explaining. It's the attitude behind it, not so much the words. Questions? Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Very welcome. Questions? Before they open up?
Yes, because we also talk about purification practices. So how does that help? And does the bad seed actually get eradicated, or the environmental cause being suppressed?
Have you heard of Milarepa? Have you heard what his guru made him do? It was pure purification. Pure. To make it come out faster and quicker. Even more effective than prostrations and all that, because he really suffered physically, mentally, and emotionally. Very much. He suffered. But he took it, and look what happened to him. But we need to have a guru of that quality, like Marpa, like his guru, and we need to have a disciple of that quality. So for you and me, we forget it for now. You don't have to build any houses and towers. The guru and the disciple must be of both high quality to do that. We use that as an inspiration, as an example, but it doesn't mean that we have to copy it exactly, because we have to be, I and you have to be that quality, and I'm not. So what the guru can do is, when you actually do things that you normally cannot do, and the motivation is towards Dharma, it becomes a purification. The object and the motivation, it becomes a purification practice. So that's why it says in the verses for the 9 attitudes, one of the verses is to accept the suffering, accept the difficulties, and be happy about it. Why is that? Why are you happy about the suffering? Because through that so-called suffering, you purify, so you do not have to experience that at a later time under an environmental condition that can be harsh. Example. If we were to have the karma to be very sick and is near a hospital in our own country with our helpers and friends, we can tahan, we can take it. But if we were to be sick in a foreign country, in a country that didn't have medical facilities, were not clean, the same sickness, wouldn't you be more scared? So wouldn't you rather have your sickness manifest here? Similarly, if you have it's environmental. If you have the karma to wear a nice thick coat a very nice thick coat. If you wear it in Alaska, in Canada, you'll be very comfortable. If you ran around Malaysia at 12 midday with your big coat, it's going to be pure suffering. So the item, the person, and the karma can ripen, but the situation or the conditions or the environmental conditions where they ripen can make a very big deal. So therefore, if we do Dharma practice, we're near our teachers, we're near our support, we're near the center, we're near people that can help us overcome our problems, and we're doing retreats and the problems manifest, it's a good sign. Why? We have a support factor there. They have to manifest. Better they manifest in an environmental condition where there's a remedy and we'll be all right. If they manifest somewhere else, how? So we have the karma from killing or lying or stealing or cheating or hurting people, and this karma is latent, but suddenly we die and it manifests for us as an animal or in the hell realm, there is no relief at all. But if they manifest here, because of the environment, it's much more easier to deal with. It's much more to suffer through it. Therefore, when the Lama gives us work to overcome our ego, overcome our fears, overcome our karma, that creates suffering, we should be happy and accept it. Why? Because the environmental condition allows us to suffer it through, to purify it with no negative repercussions. Does everybody understand that? Makes sense, right? Good. Questions? Yes, Shin.
This is relating to what you have always told us about manifestation of negative karma and purification. What is the difference between an event that happens, whether it's a manifestation of negative karma or whether it's a purification? Is it based on, for example, is it like because of certain motivation and certain action that you do, the manifestation of negative karma?
Your state of mind and how you take it makes it a suffering or a purification. If you've been a naughty student and your teacher makes you do prostrations and you hate every minute of it, that's suffering. If you realize you wish to purify your negative karma and you do prostrations and you suffer, you're happy, that's purification.
So actually, purification is actually
Experience of an unpleasant situation, and how you take that situation makes it purification, not why. If you're hating your guru and hating the prostrations and hate those Buddhas you're prostrating to and hate everything, then from the prostration you're suffering and making even more negative karma. More. From the Buddhas you can make negative karma. But if you're doing the prostrations out of your free will, knowing that you want to advance your spiritual practice, whatever suffering you feel is not suffering. You're actually happy. It's actually not suffering anymore. You want more. So from that becomes a purification and collection of merit. Why does an experience become a purification or a suffering? Attitude, perspective, purpose, goal. Very excellent question. Excellent. Does everybody understand? So if Paul's working here as an accountant and he's working 18 hours a day at a small fee, if he doesn't understand Dharma, he doesn't like Dharma, it's pure suffering. No future for him. But because he knows Dharma, he knows he's working for Ganden, he pushes himself, it becomes a collection of merit and purification. Same situation. So whatever we experience, and how we take it makes it a purification, collection of merit, or suffering. There are people who prostrate in Tibet for 1 year from their provinces, hundreds and thousands of miles away, and they prostrate all the way to Jorumji, to Lhasa. It takes them 1 year to prostrate. For us, that's pure suffering. For them, it's purification. If we did it, it wouldn't be purification. We'd be cursing everybody all the way. They cook outside. They get ice. They get snow. They melt that to make their tea. It's cold. It's freezing. It's harsh. It's arid. And they prostrate. And by the time they get there, they're cracked. Some die. Some get snow blindness. For us, we think that's pure suffering because of our experience, our background, and our attitude. For some people, going to Bodh Gaya is a totally purifying experience. Totally. When we went to Bodh Gaya, some went totally purifying. They had diarrhea all the way. They had headaches. They didn't have enough sleep. They were tired, yet they were happy, and they knew what they were doing. They purified their karma because there was suffering going there. For people who didn't realize what it was, they went there as a tourist, they said it's pure suffering. It's pure suffering for them. The crazy Lama talking all day, all night, no schedules, food in a little kitchen, running around that tree, the hot sun. Pure suffering. So that's a very good question. Depends on our attitude. So you think it's all in the mind. Yes, it is. Da-da-da. It's all in the mind. Whether it's in the mind or not in the mind creates the causes and creates the results. That's right. So working for the Dharma, volunteering for the Dharma can be pure suffering, or it can be pure purification and collection of merit. That's why some people who do the Dharma, they're always very happy. Yes, 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 yes. So some people go, ugh, oh, I don't know, but I've got my family, I've got commitments, I've got to take care of bills, I've got to survive. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's why there's a difference in their attitudes. Because they don't know the Dharma. It's not they've been indoctrinated or they become fanatics. They don't know. So if you get an education and you're good in biophysics or you're good in teaching English, what is that? You're a fanatic now? No, you've been educated, so you know it's good. You're not a fanatic. Because you learn the Dharma, you're a fanatic. Because you know more, you're a fanatic. Because you understand more than everybody else, you're a fanatic. Because they don't understand, you're a fanatic. Because other people haven't studied what you know, they don't have your attainments. Therefore, what you're doing is fanatical and wrong. That's their wrong view. Completely wrong view. Questions? Yes, James?
Let's say we make ourselves to come for the Dharma talk, and then suddenly we have to cancel or move the classes, and then actually for us it's okay, but like let's say the student, they will like bad thoughts about, hey, how come you always go for the Buddhist center, is it any wrong? Or sometimes they have sometimes we have to tell some white lie to them. Is it I think some bad karma?
Your question is a white lie or them getting upset? Them getting upset, whether you cancel or don't cancel or change for Dharma or not, it's not Dharma's fault. It's the fact that you changed it. It has nothing to do with Dharma. Okay? But in this case, if it's Dharma, you changed it, and they have wrong view, there's nothing you can do about that. It's not good or bad. It's just like that. Now, in pertaining to saying white lies, why are you white lying to them? To trick them, to extort things, to get something, or to not hurt them while you're on your virtuous journey. If your motivation is to hurt, to extort, to cheat, to hurt them, to lie to them, to get something from them, then it's very negative. That's why we call it a white lie. So, if you were standing in the forest and you see a deer go that way, and I'm the hunter and I ask you which way did it go, what are you going to tell me? That way or that way? Which way? The deer went that way. I ask you, which way did the deer go? I'm the hunter wanting to kill the deer. Which way? You're going to tell me. That's right. Is that bad karma? Exactly. It's bad karma if you tell them that way. Understand? We can't make the world understand what we're doing. We can't. There's a lot of things about you that's questionable. It isn't just that. There are a lot of things around that you're going to have to apologize for to your parents or whatever if you have them. A lot of things. That ain't the only thing, so don't worry about that one. That's a small problem. A lot of things. Me too. Me too. Questions? Yes, Paris?
At what point, you're talking about students checking the Lama and the Lama checking the student. At what point does the relationship get stale?
When the student in their heart thinks, this is my Lama.
But what if the teacher hasn't accepted you as a student?
My dear, Do you need Buddha Shakyamuni to talk from a statue and say, I accept you? Or you think, I believe in you, I'm a Buddhist? Do you think the Dalai Lama has hundreds of thousands of people every year? Yes, you're my student. Yes, you're my student. You're just my student. Or do you think people in the audience think, oh my God, this is Avalokiteshvara, you're my guru? There are thousands of people running around the world who never had a private audience to talk to him in person, who consider him their guru. It's from your side if you believe it. Whether your guru accepts you or not, it doesn't really matter. And especially if you're under a popular guru, not a cat in the alley like me, who has thousands of students, it's impossible that each student gets an affirmation from the teacher that, yes, you're my student from now on. The important thing is you yourself think, I am your student. And once you commit to that, you commit to that. The whole thing about the Lama checking the student is, you may think he is your Lama. He may not think you're the student. So if there's any higher initiations, you don't get an invitation card. Simple as that. But if there's general teachings, you're always invited. If there's higher initiations or dangerous practices that he knows you can't make it, he won't invite you. So it doesn't seal anything. You get it? Are you sure? Then ask what you don't get. Can anybody answer her? I don't see any confusion. Anybody answer her? Yes.
I think she means like official.
I know what she means. Answer her.
So, if you officially request Lama, say you want to take refuge, she says no, you have to request again. If you request again and again and again, as the third time or the 1,000th time, you give you for initiationist refuge. He will grant you refuge because through grant you refuge, he could see that he could benefit you. If you're so persistent, you ask year after year, he says no, no, no. By persisting, you will make yourself worthwhile and make the group be able to benefit you. So sooner or later, you're going to get it for sure.
You're going to get it, meaning
You're going to get refuge. Yeah. Yeah. So they say the teacher not checking the guru is like drinking poison.
Whether the guru accepts you as his student or not, when he gives you a teaching, do you not still benefit? If you practice it, do you not benefit? Then what's the problem? You want an emotional ego stroke? Oh, my long-lost student from 10 lifetimes. Come here. What difference does it make?
So the guru relationship is defined more by the student.
Definitely, dearie. Definitely the guru-disciple relationship is defined by the student. When the teacher gives you higher practices, then it's a clear sign that you're accepted. Naropa and Tilopa. Naropa ran around as guru serving him for 12 years before Tilopa even asked him what his name was. 12 years. He didn't even know what his name was. Because he went to a wedding and he gave gave Tilopa some delicious food. He licked his finger and says, my son. His student, Naropa, went, what? My son? For 12 years, you didn't even ask me my name. You just went, oi, to me, and then you call me my son. So my point is this, there is no confusion. You're saying that if it's not confirmed from our guru that he says, you're my student, then it's not confirmed. So I'm kind of on a safe track. But if you, in your mind, have thought, this is my guru, it's already sealed. It's already sealed. Once in your mind you think, this is my guru, it's already sealed. Whether people know it or not, or verbalize or not, in your mental continuum, you have thought, this is my guru, and these teachings benefit me. Then if you have an opportunity to say, oh, will you accept me? And the guru says, yes. Okay. Whether the guru verbally accepts you or not, from your side, you still have a responsibility. Just because the guru hasn't accepted you officially as a student, do you think you can go and abuse him? Beat him up? Be disrespectful? Run around naked? Throw your coffee at him? Of course not. Of course not. It has nothing to do with the side of the guru, whether he verbally or openly or directly or personally affirms your tutorialship. It's your attitude from your side. And your attitude from your side will flow into this guru-disciple relationship automatically. Automatically. And even if it's not your guru, if it's someone you receive Dharma from, it's still very nice to be respectful. You understand? You don't have to go into a lot of officialdom. Yes, yes.
If, for example, you have, like, for example, you have 14 gurus, this is just a technicality. Did you have to take refuge with all of them?
Oh no, I didn't.
You don't even have to request.
Taking refuge with someone doesn't mean they're your guru. And the person who gives you refuge doesn't mean they're your root guru. Taking refuge means you have entered the path. And you have started on the path of practice to become a Buddha. So to fulfill that refuge, if necessary, you can have 14 gurus that give you a lot of knowledge that will be very vast and wide to fulfill your refuge commitments. So to take refuge with 14 gurus is unnecessary. It's like saying that I want coffee, and from each guru you get a cup, so you got 14 cups. Which one? You fill up 14 cups, it's impossible to drink. One cup filled serves the purpose. So you do not have to take refuge with 14 gurus. You take refuge with one guru. Just one. Even without taking refuge, your guru still can be your root guru. Just by simply say, I request you to be my guru. Please, may I be your student. Even before he's accepted, if you think you're his student, you will become his student. As I say, Naropa thought of himself as Tilopa's student for 12 years, but when he mentioned that, he got a bashing. He said, I'm not your guru, and you're not my student. I've never seen you before, and I hope never to see you again. Another bashing with his walking stick, and he walked away. And Naropa was like, he likes me. Yeah, he actually says he likes me. You should read the story. It's so funny. But that's what really happened. Okay? You're welcome. Are you sure you're clear on that? All right. Questions?
So in a way, we can say that refuge.
You didn't raise your hand. You broke the rules. Oh, teasing your guru? You look like a baboon gorilla. Yes, go ahead.
So can we say that refuge is actually a process to instill in certain students a virtuous mind towards a virtuous life?
No, it's a stereotype toward drugs, rock and roll, and sex. Of course it is. Of course.
So the actual process of refuge would be like baptism and all that similar.
Yeah, it's similar to that, yes. It's similar to that. Even before you take refuge, you can still be a Buddhist. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha, to bodhicitta, to enlightenment. You can make a commitment without refuge. The only thing is you don't have the vows. But you still can live as you've had the vows. Whether you had the vows of refuge or not, you still can be a virtuous person. What happens if you live in a land where there's no lamas? There's no one to give refuge, no teachers. But you came across the teachings on the internet. So you can't practice Dharma until you take refuge 20 years later? What happens if you live in in some kind of country that's communist? Or some country that doesn't admit it, or you can't go there. So if there's no gurus around, what, you can't practice virtue? You can't hold the refuge vows? The thing is this, is that taking refuge is something official, but it's also very personal. So if you live in a place where you can't take refuge from a lama, if you can't take refuge, you can make 3 prostrations to the Buddha and take the refuge vows in front of them, and you can hold it as if you had it. You can do that. You have to check circumstantial. In this country, I know what you guys are thinking about. In this country, once you take refuge, that's my root guru, the end. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. Your root lama is the lama that inspires you the most, that you feel very close, and that has given you a lot of Dharma and changed your life. That is who your root guru is. In fact, I just read that yesterday. That's what a root guru is someone that really inspires you and changes your life. That's your root guru. And the root guru doesn't depend on their status, how famous or how big or how small they are. It depends on their relationship with you and how they affect your mind. That's why you call it a root guru. They change your whole root thinking. They change your whole basis of life, your whole basis of where you come from. They change everything, your root guru. And then roots, why? From the roots, the whole tree grows. That's your root guru. And that has scriptural source. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I hope I marked it. Usually I mark my notes. Ah. Root teacher, progressing summaries, one portion of good point. Here, Root Gurus, page 77. You guys got to get this book. It's fabulous, all right? Very fabulous. Root Gurus, it just says Root Gurus. Root Gurus are the spiritual mentors who turn disciples' hearts and minds most ardently to the Buddhist path. They are the strongest sources of inspiration to sustain the disciples throughout their spiritual journeys. The relationship with such teachers acts as roots for all attainments, and hence Root Guru. The mentors who serve disciples as their Root Gurus are not necessarily the first spiritual teachers that the seekers encounter or the ones who give them the most Dharma instruction or meditation or ritual training, nor are they necessarily the mentors with whom they take refuge or liberation vows. Most, however, come from among their tantric masters. The discussion of Root Gurus traditionally appear primarily in the context of the highest Tantra practice. The Sakya tradition, in fact, equates the terms spiritual mentor, tantric master, and Root Guru. Such mentors serve as the roots of all our paths because of refuge, liberation, bodhisattva, and tantric vows we take in their presence during the highest tantric empowerments, and because of the experience and flash insights we gain during the procedures to their inspiration. That part, never mind. Listen to this first part again. Root Gurus are spiritual mentors who turn their disciples' hearts and minds most ardently to the Buddhist path. They are the strongest sources of inspiration to sustain disciples through their spiritual journeys. The relationship with such teachers acts as roots for all attainments. The mentors who serve disciples as their Root Gurus are not necessarily the first spiritual teachers that the seekers encounter or the ones who give them the most Dharma instruction or meditation or ritual training. Okay? So it's the one that turns our hearts and minds very much. So how long you stayed with them, how much Dharma you received from them, is not the criteria here. Of course, we must respect teachers even that are not our root teachers. The criteria here is which person turned our hearts and minds around towards the Dharma. That is our root teacher. Why? From then, all roots of attainments arise.
So it could even be someone, a book you read.
Yeah, it can be. Not the book, but the person who wrote the book. Yes, it can be. But if they have great writers around me, around them like me, and then they might be taking refuge in the writers. It can be. Yeah. Mandatory for what? No. Take refuge as a mandatory for what? As a mandate for what? At your age, I would take it fast. Yes? Just plain, just kidding. other students pestering you or telling you or sharing with you about refuge? If you take refuge, the benefits are definitely more. Why? Why? Because when you take a formal vow in front of the three jewels with the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha witnessing, and then you say, from now on, I will refrain from these 12 negative actions so that I may gain bodhicitta and realization. Then every single day you refrain because of that vow and your motivation, all your actions will lead towards that. Whereas if you don't take that vow, where your actions lead to is iffy and maybe. That's like saying that monks don't have to take any vows. What? They're doing fine on their own. Don't need any more monks. Then don't need any more nuns. Don't need to take any refuge. Don't need to take any vows. Then we don't need any tantric initiations. Then we don't need any bodhisattva vows. Then we don't need any fasting vows. We don't need any vows at all. Throw all vows away. In fact, Buddha, disrobe yourself. Of course there are more benefits, but the very reason that we have fear for taking refuge vows is, A, can be we don't trust the teacher. Can be. Doesn't mean you're bad or good. B, it could be you don't trust yourself. C, your attachment to money, to work, to entertainment, to fun is very strong, and it threatens your freedom. Usually people who are afraid of taking refuge feel it's a threat to their freedom, and they have great fear. So that's why they say, don't push me. But the reason you have fear for that is you haven't seen the value of the Dharma in its full light. Until you see the value of the Dharma in its full light, avoiding the 12 negative actions, if it's so easy for you without refuge, then take it lah. Take it. Since it's the same what? Since it's the same, take it. Since you're so confident that you can avoid those 12, then why don't you get the extra benefit? I know I can hold my vows, that's why I took it. I know I can. I'm fully confident. I knew I could when I was a kid. I was just looking for someone to give it to me. So for you, since you're fully confident you can do it, get the extra benefit. You're a businesswoman. Yeah, be a real businesswoman. So unless you're totally afraid that it might restrict you from something that you're attached to, then you don't want to take refuge. No. No. It's a wrong concept of freedom, because why? Why are you free? Why are you free? And if you take refuge, why are you not free? If you don't kill, why are you not free? If you don't steal, why are you not free? If you don't lie, why are you not free? Why are you not free if you don't do those things? And if you already don't do those things and you take the vows, and every day you collect the merit not to do that, you become even more free. Why? From not killing, stealing, and lying, you obtain beautiful, wonderful results. Results that resemble the cause. In fact, when you take those vows, the whole reason you take those is called liberation vows. Freedom. That's the very reason. I'm not even playing with words with you. I'm telling you the truth. The whole reason we take those vows is to become free. In fact, not taking those vows make us not free. Why? A, if we don't have an issue with it, why are we afraid? B, why is it not taking vows freedom? C, why is engaging in actions that could be negative lead to freedom? Why is it taking vows that help us to guide us in taking virtuous steps be not freedom? Then that means we shouldn't have any laws in the land. No freedom what? We shouldn't have any red traffic lights. No freedom what? Because there are red traffic lights, because there are rules, we have so much freedom. We can walk around and not be robbed every day. We can be sure that if we get robbed, that the person will be caught, that there's consequences. Because there are rules and regulation and the law and a jail, hell, we have freedom. Without laws, we don't have freedom. We have chaos. With the refuge vows, we have full freedom. Why? It helps us and blesses us to go back to our original self, clarity. And by holding the vows every single day, we collect the merits that as time goes on, the vows become easier and easier and easier until it's natural. Until even in future lives, when you're born, you actually act according to the vows. Why do you think people like the Dalai Lama doesn't have freedom? I have pure freedom. I have pure freedom. In fact, I have more freedom than you. I have much more freedom than you. I'll come back as a Rinpoche. What will you come back as? Exactly. When you say like that, you don't have full conviction in reincarnation, but you will. Exactly. You don't have full conviction. Can't see. You don't know. Your perception is so limited. You can't even see and perceive what will happen. Therefore, you think you're free. It's like a frog in a well thinking he's seen everything. Actually, you're not free. You're not free at all. In fact, with the deepest respect for people like you and everybody, I have great fear. Tremendous fear. Fear I don't express. Fear I don't say. You don't have freedom. And this so-called freedom that you have, how many more years? This is how I think. When we take refuge vows, it's not a matter of having freedom or not having freedom. It's a matter of achieving freedom, and that's a method. And when we say freedom, there are different levels of freedom. There's small, medium, large. If we want ultimate large freedom, to go where you want, to do as you like, to have extraordinary powers, to have great compassion, to be loved, to go anywhere and you don't get controlled by your anger and your greed and your jealousy and your miserliness and your fears. If you don't want to get controlled by that, then you take refuge. If you're controlled by your jealousy and your greed and your money and your hatred and all these emotions, you don't have freedom. Far from it. Working and slaving for money is not freedom. It is never freedom. So as long as we have hatred, all of us have some degree of that. All of us. As long as we have jealousy, as long as we have anger, as long as we have miserliness and greed, all these emotions we have. Some is this one more, some is this one, this is some, but we all have some degree of it. We don't have any freedom. Why? Because those emotions make us do actions that create even more negative karma, to do more negative actions that bring negative results. Much more. So by taking vows, it is a direct counter to prison. Example, laws in the land is a direct counter to prison. Laws of the land is a direct pointing mark to freedom. Because we have laws, we have freedom. Because we have red lights, we have freedom. We won't get run over if we go across the street. Higher chance we won't get run over. If there's no red lights, oh, we're free. You're free to get run over. Same kind of mentality, same kind of thinking. If you have fear towards the refuge, 12 teeny little vows, which are natural ethical vows, if you're afraid of that, then you are not free. Impossible you are free. Impossible. Why? If you're so free, what's the problem? But because you're not free, you're caught and you're stuck and you're scared, you're definitely not free. Definitely not. So if you say it's a matter of freedom of choice is different than freedom. Freedom of choice is very different than freedom. Freedom of choice is, yes, you want to take it to get benefits. You don't want to take the benefits. It's up to you. But to say it's freedom in itself or not, that's very different. Very, very different. No one in this room is free. No one. We have no control of our destiny. We have no control of our death. We have no control where we're going to be reborn. We have no control of our emotions. We don't even have control of our kids. We don't even have control of our spouse. We don't have control of our body. We don't have control of our aging process. We don't have control of our sickness. We have zero control. And the control will get less and less and less. Zero control. Taking vows doesn't necessarily make you a Buddhist. I agree with that. If you believe in the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha, you're a Buddhist. That's fine. Taking the vow doesn't make you a Buddhist or not. Taking the vow is the first path toward liberation. That's why they called it prati moksha. Prati is self, moksha is freedom. Literally freedom. Literally in Sanskrit is freedom. Nirvana or freedom. Actually freedom. So when you say things like that, it's a very good issue. It's very good thinking, because there are going to be other people in the future thinking like that. But I vehemently disagree with you, not out of disrespect, but out of not enough knowledge to come to that conclusion. So my job is to give you that knowledge. You are not free, but you have the freedom to become free. Yes, you have the freedom to become free. So if you have Dharma friends who are saying taking refuge, take refuge, take refuge, take refuge, actually you should think like this. From the donations I gave, from the chanting I did, from the prostrations, for the involvement, it is my merit acting up now for me to go to the next step in my spiritual practice. You should think like that. Because if you take refuge, nobody benefits. Nobody gets anything. You don't have to give an ang pao to every person who suggests you take refuge. They get nothing. So if they get nothing, they say that, and it's towards something positive, you automatically have to think in your mind, oh, it's my good karma coming up. For example, when Geshe-la forced me to go get Yamataka, I hated it. I didn't want something so complicated. I fought all the way. I really did. It's a long story. But he made me. Now I think, oh, thank God I did. There are very reasons for that. So what I'm saying is, that time I thought, ugh. Now I think it's a merit, it's a fruitioning of my good karma at that time. Even I didn't want to, my good karma made me do it. So for you, if you have spiritual friends that tell you to take refuge, if you have spiritual friends that tell you that, it's a ripening of your good karma to lead you toward real freedom and a wider freedom. And after you take refuge, why are you not free? Because you can't kill? Because you can't steal? What in the refuge there is going to restrict you? Nothing. So why don't you have freedom? No, I'm not teasing you, really. Why don't you have freedom? I think that you don't understand it very well, so you have fear of it. And I think that if you understand it, you won't have fear because you're smart. Not to go for refuge for teachers who contradict the Buddha or to samsara gods. You're not going to go pray to Hantus, are you? Are you? Okay, number one, no problem already. Number two, to regard any image of the Buddha as an actual Buddha. So when you see a Buddha image, will you respect it? Or you keep it as a doorstop? You're going to respect, right? Or number two is okay. Number three, not to harm others. I don't think you harm others. Maybe your husband when he gets on your nerves, but not really many people, right? Number four, to regard all Dharma scriptures as an actual Dharma jewel. That means to respect Dharma books. You won't use it as toilet paper, will you? No problem. Number four, already easy, freedom. Okay, number five, not to allow ourselves to be influenced by people who reject Buddha's teachings. Can you handle that one? Yeah. So if people tell you Buddha's bad, Buddhism's bad, Buddha's bad, Buddhism's bad, are you going to tell them fly a kite, or are you going to say, I agree? Okay. See how strong you are already. Not even fly a kite. Some more can say, shut up. Shut up. The president of a Buddhist compassion center. Shut up. Okay. Number six, to regard anyone who wears the robes as an ordained person as actual Sangha. So when you see people with robes, will you show respect? Or you ask them to give you a massage? No problem. Okay. Number seven, to go for refuge to the three jewels again and again, remembering the good quality and difference between them. Go for refuge again and again doesn't mean a ceremony. It means every day when you do your prayers, when you do your sadhana, when you recite the refuge, you think about the good qualities. You're already doing that one. Okay, the next one. To offer the first portion of whatever we eat and drink to the three jewels where I remember their kindness. Okay, so you're not a housewife and sit there, everything you cook. Because usually, traditionally, when we're at home, we cook a small portion, we offer to the three jewels once a day. So if you're on the run, no problem. When you order something at the restaurant, you make a food offering with your mouth. Recite it, David. I'm sure you can do that one day. We can translate that into English. I offer to Lama Tsongkhapa, to the two spiritual sons, what I'm going to partake, whatever I take, may benefit my body to benefit others. I offer this to you. There you go. You finished. You can do that even with a cup of tea. You fulfilled it. Okay, next one. With compassion, always encourage others to go for refuge. So it looks like the other people went for refuge are fulfilling their refuge vows lah. So what we can do for you is we can do something special. Here, there's no new chickens for you to target for refuge. And they're going to tease the crap out of you. So what you do is this, my dear. We print out refuge cards and Lama cards and center cards, and we put you in front of 7-Eleven, 24 Jam. You pass it out and encourage people for refuge lah. Take refuge, take refuge, take refuge. You have freedom lah. Look, I'm free. And just to get you away, they probably will take refuge. Take a look at you. You look like a chicken. Okay, so with compassion, always encourage others to go for refuge. She's so good, I tell you. I told you, she always sets herself to be a victim. Don't know why. She always has this question and look and expression like, get me. Okay, we get you. I'm sure Madeline sitting there going, oh, brother, I took refuge. I'm fine. Look at me. I'm all right. I'm free. If the guru tells me something I don't want to do, I tell him, shut up. Okay. Number 10, to go for refuge at least 3 times during the day and 3 times during the night, remembering the benefits of going for refuge. If you have refuge and you're always in refuge and you believe in the Buddha, it's all right already. You believe in the Buddha. You've given more money to the Buddha than you did your own kids and everybody. You must believe. That's right. That came from our own refuge mouth. That came from the mouth it came out of that mouth that's going to be taking in the refuge. Yeah. To perform every action with complete trust in the 3 jewels. What's wrong with that? What's so hard about that? If I drive, I believe in Buddha. If I drink a cup of coffee, I believe in Buddha. When I get dressed, I believe in Buddha. Why? Why do you have that awareness? In case you die, then that awareness will be spontaneous. So when you think about the Buddha at the time of death, it opens up good conditions to take a good rebirth. That's the purpose of that vow. It's very important. Why we're dying, if we've been used to thinking about the 3 jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, immediately when we think about that, because it's an environmental condition to open up the prayers and the pujas and the donations and help that we've done, it opens up that karma, so it forces us to take a good reincarnation. That's the purpose of that vow. It is not something barbaric. Never to forsake the 3 jewels, even at the cost of our lives, and even as a joke. That's very easy. You already said, shut up. So, what's so hard about that? And then, along with the refuge vows, right? It's very simple. Don't kill. Don't steal. Number 3, no sexual misconduct. No telling lies. No drinking alcohol that clouds the mind. So if you have to drink alcohol, and it's for a purpose, then it's all right. But if you're simply drinking and you're doing harm from that, okay. I mean, there are people who drink alcohol for health. It's okay. You don't have to be so narrow like that. Then, 3 of the body. Don't steal, don't kill, no sexual misconduct. Sexual misconduct, you must know what that means. It doesn't mean you cannot have sex. Of course you can have sex. You can have as much sex as you like. But with your husband, dearie. That's right. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all. If you don't have a husband and another person doesn't have a husband and you want to have sex with a lot of people, that's different also. It's full of freedom. Actually, if we are good people, these vows are effortless. Effortless. They're nothing. They're not difficult at all. They're actually quite light. Wait till you see the tantric vows, which you're going to be taking later, I promise you. Even if I have to give it to you to your corpse, take it. That's right. I'll call you conscious back, stick it back in, make you wake up, take the vow, then drop dead. That's right. Okay. What's the problem? The benefits of taking refuge, we become a real Buddhist. We establish a foundation for taking all other vows. We purify negative karma that we have accumulated in the past much faster than if we don't have the vows. We daily accumulate a vast amount of merit. Why? In dependence on not doing things, because we've taken the vow not to do it. Then you have the merits. Why? A young child doesn't steal, doesn't kill, but it doesn't mean that he's collecting merits, because he doesn't know to do that. But if you take a vow consciously not to do that, knowing the bad effects of those actions, and you take a vow in front of an enlightened being, such as a Buddha, it has a lot of effect. A lot. It's a lot of effect. It's like a prime minister swearing in on the Quran or a Bible. Whether he swears or not, he's a prime minister, but if he swears in, people have more confidence. It's just a book. Oh. But if he wants to cheat or lie, it's just a book. But it gives people confidence, and it also gives you some strength. Oh, I did a ceremony. Ceremonies reaffirm something inside. We are held back from falling into the 3 lower realms, and that is on the vow, on the basis of 11. Basis on vow number 11. So the benefit is we are held back from falling into 3 lower realms based on vow number 11. Number 6, we are protected from harm inflicted by humans and non-humans. People who have real refuge cannot be disturbed by any type of negative forces. No way. That is for sure. And even if they have tremendous karma and that they are disturbed by negative forces, it's very easy to expel them. Very easy to get rid of them. Very, very easy. Why? It's like if you know someone who wants to harm you and you have a backing of a very big minister or the prime minister, you just tell them, hey, don't touch me. I'll call them my minister friend. They run. Okay? We quickly attain to full enlightenment of Buddhahood. Much faster. I don't see anything in here that would make you scared or make you worried or make you lose your freedom. I don't think you're doing anything in any of these vows that contradict how you're already living your life. Except if you take the vows, you have more benefits. And if you have Dharma friends who are encouraging toward it, how I see it is they care, they know the benefits, maybe they know something more than you before today, and what do they get from it? Definitely. So if I was you, I would take the vows. I took it when I was 10, 11. I'm holding it till now. I've never lost any of my freedom. I was jumping around all over LA, all over, everywhere. I never lost any freedom. None of the vows make us lose our freedom, but they have benefits. If I was you, I would take my vows ASAP. Why? The benefits are very great. And that's something taught by the Buddha, so definitely has something beneficial. It's by Lord Buddha. And who are you committing to? The Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. And once you take the vows, you're not entailed to anything except to be the best person that you can with the vows, so that each day that you hold the vows and you fulfill them, the merit from fulfilling those vows come back to you. And if you're already doing that, it's even better. Of course it's better. Yeah, it's very good. None of this is to force you or coerce you. It's to give you understanding. And it benefits other people. It isn't just us watching. There's other people out there watching too. You don't lose any freedom. For you to think you lose freedom, you're not in the minority, I promise you. There are many people who feel when they take vows they lose freedom, they're afraid. Many people. Only because they don't understand. You're not the only one. You don't need to feel embarrassed at all. And for you to fight back and tell people off and say, leave me alone, all that is a good sign. Why? It means that when you promise and you do it, you'll be committed. Yeah, it's very good. It's a very good sign. You wouldn't fight so much about it. And if you didn't treasure the vows and you didn't respect them, you wouldn't be so upset when people force you. Why? Because if you didn't think much, whatever lah. But because you do respect it, you do know there's value, then you're very sensitive about it. Definitely you respect it. Definitely. You come from a background and a generation of people that don't question Dharma. That have a robe person or is religious, you just believe. You may not understand it, you just believe. And what you don't like, you don't comment, you don't keep quiet. You don't say anything. You come from that kind of background. That's very nice. But now we're different. We can talk about it. You should take refuge. I never tell people that directly. In this year, I told 2 people to take refuge. One person already came the other day and made offerings and requested. And you're the second person I told. I don't tell that easy. If you want refuge, I'll be very happy to offer you the refuge vows. Very, very happy. Yes, you should take it. Whether you take the refuge vows from me or not, I think you've already thought of me as your guru. There's no difference in that relationship. No difference at all. So you get the benefits. Thank you very much. I work very hard towards your direction, and when you say that, at least it's someone sensible that I'm teaching Dharma to. Yeah. I don't feel an ego trip, but I feel, oh, phew, finally one result. Yeah. She's pretty bitchy, isn't she? But at least she's straightforward. I appreciate that. And then this question, and we talking about it, it benefits people. It's a little late, but you don't have to see me tomorrow, next day at all. Henry's like, thank God. When? "12 teeny little vows." How auspicious on Tsongkhapa Day. Wow. Well, I didn't even think about that. And when people take vows, seriously speaking, never make jokes, never make fun, and never make it a joke. Why? It is from Lord Buddha, and Dharma is very, very beneficial. Even one little vow is very beneficial. And the fact that she's opened a can of worms and talked like that is very beneficial for all of us. Very. She has these doubts. She expressed it. She says, I lose my freedom. She said this. She's brave enough to say that because other people who think that, they dare not say that. I'm not kidding. I'm not even complimenting her because I've heard this before. People say, I'm not going to take vows. I lose my freedom. I've heard that. And there are people who don't want to be monks because they feel they lose their freedom. And that's a big fear in people who don't have mass Buddhist consciousness. Actually, you don't lose your freedom. That's right. I don't give refuge vows out easy. I don't want to make a link with anybody easy. That's right. They may think they don't want to take vows. What makes you think I want to give it? Do you think you want to be tied to some fruitcake nut that looks like a chicken for the rest of eternity, every life after teach them Dharma? Thank you very much. I've got things to do in samsara. Of course JP is not going to take the vows. Of course not. Of course not. It will be a while before he does it, but I won't tell you why. That's right. And exactly like in our teachings, when people take it without understanding it, they didn't take refuge. Nothing happened. They should actually take it again. Exactly. That's exactly what I read. That's exactly what I taught these last few days. In fact, people who take refuge vows without knowing it, without having the right attitude, they didn't take refuge. They didn't take any vows. It's just words. If sitting in a refuge ceremony means you took vows without having any conscious understanding of it, that means small kids sitting there, infants who sit there, took the vows. Not possible. That's why I explain what it is. I give you the visualization. I take the time to tell you about the benefits so that you understand. Exactly. She's exactly right. It's not a ceremony or procedure. Yes, Angel? Yes, but you have broken the vow since you didn't know it, and if you have broken it, you should purify it. And you can purify by purification methods, or you can retake them. Yeah, very good question. Questions? I love questions. It's very nice. It tells you where people are at.
Just a small question, please. Sometimes you mention your first group of these kids was on Darchi. Is that meant chronological first, or that also two gurus or three gurus can be especially inspirational to you?
Yeah, number two. Number two. And he was a great inspiration on me. A very great inspiration. He's more of an inspiration to me now than he was then. Because that time I was very young. I didn't know how to check or look or know his qualities. I just thought he's a high lama, that's it. And I thought, respect. But now when I look back and remember his actions and what he did and what he taught, what he told me, what he told his students, and how he lived and his practices, is a very great inspiration. Because I didn't have the intelligence and the knowledge to gauge his qualities. All I know is he was great. And that's it. It's just a childlike faith. But now, I have, if you ask me why, I can tell you in detail why. So he's a very great source of inspiration for me now. Very great. Questions? Yes, Wendy? Sure you can. Sure you can, but don't define guru and root guru. Just all gurus.
Don't get stuck on that. Why? If it's a root guru, you treat them better than a guru. I mean, we don't need to get stuck on that. What we should do is we should take the guru that inspires us the most, that's changed our life the most, and then visualize that person and combine all the other gurus into that person. And when we're thinking about that person and taking refuge, all of gurus will come. If we have a lot of gurus and we find that difficult because we feel we're being unfair or something,
we take Lama Tsongkhapa and think that all our gurus have dissolved in Lama Tsongkhapa. When we take refuge in Lama Tsongkhapa, that's all our gurus. That's very wonderful. That's why the Guru Yoga of Lama Tsongkhapa is wonderful. Guru Yoga of Lama Tsongkhapa. Okay?